Alright, what's up guys? So in this video I want to go over my Bookmine sourcing. I went over Keepa the other day, 2 days ago, and that was really fun. I haven't done Keepa in a while because of Bookmine. I'm I've pretty much switched over everything to Bookmine because it's just simpler. They make everything really easy to filter and everything comparative to Keepa. Although Keepa, I was impressed by the. Sorry, I had to make sure I was recording. But I'm pretty impressed by the what the Keepa does. I if you don't quite have the cash flow to pay for Bookmine, start there. It's like 20 some dollars a month. It's perfect. But once you're ready to level up, go to Bookmine, because not only is Bookmine a great sourcing tool, Joji and Victor, they like what I've said in the past is I don't think that this is a beginner tool. And I still kind of think that because you have to know Keepa in order to take full advantage of this. But Joji and Victor have been impressing me by how much they can constantly are teaching in this app or this software. They're constantly doing. They did like a high school master class where they did 6 different sessions on like how to look for high school books, and that is the bread and butter of this business. Like high school books, college books, Christmas books, the seasonal books is the bread and butter. And they did a whole 6 week program for free for Bookmine members. It was, I think, $300 or something for everyone who wasn't a Bookmine member. So right there, you're getting some great value. And on top of that, they do every 2 weeks they do their own videos where they'll cover everything on of like whatever they are thinking about week, whatever someone if someone brought up something, they'll do a live class where you can join with other Bookmine members, and they'll talk about like they did yesterday about how to source college books, and they've talked about a whole bunch of things. And on top of that, they also have an associate, Chet, where he goes, I believe they do it like every other week. It kind of changes with their schedule and stuff, but it's, multiple times a month where they'll go on there and talk about how to run an online book business for Amazon. And it's invaluable, and I think even for beginners, you guys can take advantage of it. I do have a link in the description if you guys want to check it out. There's a 15-day free trial. I highly suggest at least checking it out. Go to a class, understand like what's going on in this type of business. That way, you kind of have a leg up if you do that. But anyways, let's get into the sourcing because that's what this video is about. So I got Bookmine pulled up. We'll go ahead and refresh it because it's just the top of the hour. I believe at the top of every hour, it refreshes the books. I believe that's how it works. And that's like a little bit more than what Keepa does. Keepa's a little bit behind on that. Not like a tremendous amount. Yeah, see, it just refreshed. And I think that's pretty big, if you ask me, just to be a little bit ahead of the game. Let's see, so this one doesn't look bad. Might be a little seasonal action going on. Let's take a deeper look at it. Looks like it's about like 50. And you see that I didn't even put any filters in on Bookmine. This was the first book that popped up. Sometimes you don't even need to filter things down. You can just look into it. Oh, I'm not eligible. Never mind. Let's see here. And we'll go ahead and do a little bit of filtering. So my go-to filter is I'll just go to the profits, and then I'll take out the what is it? Oh, close and good. That way I just get the great and amazing for the profit. Gosh darn it, I did that again. Sorry. Clicking off on the side here and messing things up. Let's try this again. All right. Profit meter. We go close. Good. Get that out of here. So we don't see those, and we see all the really good books. Like, look at this one. This one looks like a really good one. It is a little high priced at $33.69, but that also might mean that you don't have much competition with it. If you get into those below $15 books, those are the ones that kind of see the most competition. I believe it's probably because, everyone's starting out, everyone's, looking for the same type of book. And then once people's capital starts growing, or once your capital starts growing, you can kind of start looking at more of the higher priced books, because that's, if you buy, let's say you buy $110 books, and you're having to do quite a bit of work to account for all those. You're having to, for me, go on seller board, then take that information, put it on my spreadsheet, and then do a whole bunch of work for 100 different books. Rather, if you buy, 10 $30 books or $50 books, you're not doing near as much work with accounting and all that stuff, but you're making the same amount of money. You see what I'm saying? You're spending more money, but you're making maybe less ROI, but higher profits. You know what I'm saying? So you're making about the same money for less work whenever your capital can, afford to go higher price books. But anyways, let's look at this book. All right, so we're getting, kind of seems like there's some seasonality, but it doesn't really pop up as you would expect. You can see the seller rank drops a couple times, looks like in August and in January. So this might be a college book, January and August. So yeah, it definitely looks like a college book, but the lowest used offer price, which is the black line, it doesn't really respond like you'd think it should. It kind of does, I guess. Right here it does, and right here it does. But it's not like an amazing book by any means. But if we're getting at 30, what was that? 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 80, 32.80. If we get this book at 32.80 and we sell it for, what's the low? Probably 70 is the low. Still 46% ROI. And obviously it could go higher. Like here, we're seeing sales up here at the 117 range. So let's say we can get it 110. That's 150% ROI. That's massive. But back here, looks like the highest it would pop up is 85, 68, 74, 70. So you probably will get this sold for around the 70 to 80 range, which still not bad at all. Still a great book, I would say. Recently, I think, recently the reasons why it's popping up so much is because I believe that the used offer count's so low. And so it's responding by raising the price because the supply is pretty low. Demand didn't really change much. It doesn't look like, maybe a little bit. So the price is just responding to the low supply. And it looks like it's rising a little bit, which is a little concerning. What was it from last year? It's quite a bit higher from last year. There is a newer edition, I think. Oh no, there's nothing to show it on here, but there could be a newer edition. We'll go ahead and look to see if there is a newer edition here. Copy. Throw this in here. Best way to look. Like sometimes they'll show you on the listing that there's a newer edition, but we'll come in here and we'll look. We need it to be the same. William Putman. I don't see. There's a William Putman right here. It has to be the same author. If it's a different author, then it's not like the next edition type of thing. And it doesn't look like there is one. William Putman. Nope, I don't believe so. So yeah, we're probably pretty safe to say we could get this sold. If it pops up to this 117, I wouldn't expect to sell at 117. You might be able to, shoot for the 99, 90, somewhere in there. And that's a beautiful return. Oops, 90. Yeah, this is a book I would go for just because even at its low, you're not really losing anything. It is acceptable. They got a pretty good positive feedback rating, so I probably wouldn't worry about it too much. But actually, this is the one I'd probably go for, 3370, or this one. We'll go ahead and add it to the cart. And if you're watching live, go ahead and if you see a book that you're like, I like that book, go ahead and go in there and snag it. I'm going to put it in my cart, and if no one buys it at the end of this live, I'm going to go for it. I don't like going through the checkout process while I'm live because I have my address or my prep center's address on there, and I'm not really sure how to blur that out, or if you can blur that out while you're live. So yeah, I'll do that later then. Let's see. So this one looks really good. So you see how it's kind of gold. It's different color than this white. Bookmine's just saying that this is it thinks that this is a really good priced book. This one, maybe not, just because it looks like it got inflated, and Bookmine's saying that, hey, this is a really good priced book because you see right here, it's, really good priced. Obviously, if you can get sold in that 50 range and you're buying it at $8.98, that's really good. But you see back here that the true price, if we looked into it, was probably lower. But that's just me guessing because I'm not, looking into it. Maybe after this book, we might look in a little deeper. But this book looked really good with the year price, because that's what Bookmine, this graph is a keeper graph, and it's showing it the last year. And I think that's the best thing that you can do is kind of guess whenever you're just scrolling from the front page, and then look into it a little deeper. That way you get a good understanding. And does this one, it pops up there, but see, Amazon's on the listing, so you can't really go above Amazon, and Amazon looks like they're dropping below 35 and 40, so you can't really expect to get it sold in that unless, right here, Amazon gets off of it and then the price jumps up like crazy. Helmet. And you look up here, you see the stock is 30 plus, so Amazon's got who knows how many, a ton. We can try to find out how many they got if we go to add to cart. Go to cart. We can come in right here, and we can go. Let's do like 9999, and then click off. See, they've got over 1,000. So like, there's just no way you're gonna. This isn't gonna happen again. Most likely, you're not gonna get that break. So at $13.96, we could expect to get it sold for around the $30 range, and $13.96 is too high. So let's look into this. Let's see if my guess is right with this one. Because you can make an assumption about a book, but until you really dive deep into it, you're not really gonna know. So my assumption was that this is just this price just bumped up and is overpriced when it's up here in the 60s and 39 and 40s, and then I think the true price is down here. So the only way to figure out if it is you expand it more. And looks like we got some price discrepancy going on where it's like up and down, up and down. So that's a better book. Like if the price always pops up every time the used offer count goes down, that's a pretty decent book. You can expect to get it sold higher. I don't suggest trying to exploit the prime gap, but this is an example of where you could try to do that, because the lowest use offer count is obviously the lowest, and if you're going to be an FBA seller, you'll probably get the buy box and be able to price a little higher. Like you can see, we got 5 people on this book. Looks like this one is a FBA seller, so that's definitely why they have the buy box. Another FBA seller. So there's competition on this one that's low. So that maybe they couldn't sell it and they just like, all right, screw it. I'm just going to drop the price, get it out of my inventory. That could be the case. That's why these FBA sellers are lower than these FBM sellers. It's hard telling, but I would avoid this book no matter what. It's just not a great book. And we don't buy hope, as they would say. Let's see. So 30, that's a little too high for me. We got 1248. This one looks decent. Let's check it out a little bit. Let's see here. 849, 399. Let's see. So it stays up in there in the 30s, it seems. 30. So it does pop up a little bit every now and then, it seems like, but it's not like a book that does crazy good. So I could hope to get it sold for about 30 to 40, somewhere in there. And we're getting it, what's that? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 48. 1248. We can hope to get it for 30 to 40. So the $40 price is an amazing price, but the $30 price is not. It's, to me, $2 is break even. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not trying to spend $12 to make $2. And $30 seems like it will probably be the more realistic price ish. Maybe 35. But this is like another one of those books, so it's like, do you really want to go through the effort of doing all this? You know, the competition is like the closest competition that you're gonna have is FBA, which is right now they're at 36, and we can get it for 36. Yeah, so we could make $8. It's a 64% ROI. It is not bad whatsoever. But you know, do you want to spend $12 to make $8? You know what I'm saying? It's, to me, that's not worth it. If you're just starting out, you know, go for it. Like, if you're just starting out, like, get what you can, learn the process, you know, buy that book, understand, you know, and track it, and then see where you sell it. And then that way you can see, like, all right, this type of book sells for this, around this price, if I buy here, and yada yada. That just helps you understand, like, what the keepographs are actually saying, because it takes a while. It takes a while to learn it. And for me, it was, you know, once a book sold, I went back and looked at the keepograph, and then I was like, okay, this is what type of keepograph. Or I sold this book for this amount, and I got this amount out of profit. And I went back and I looked at the keepograph, and I was like, okay, this type of keepograph kind of gives me this type of return, you know, ish. You know, obviously every keepograph is different. You're not gonna be able to, you know, categorize every keepograph. Is every one of them is unique, but you can kind of get a good understanding of what to look for more. It just takes a little bit. Let's see, 40. So right now we can get it at 1914. This book, and 1914. Looks like we can get it for, or sorry, sell it for around the 40. So 40 is a little low, and we can get, but 50 is a really good price. It looks like it does go higher than 50, but it looks like it's usually staying around this range right here, which is like the 40 to 49 price. I like to see it more to have, like, if I have a minimum and maximum for my repricer, I want to see it hit that a good price at the min, and that's not bad. No, this one isn't bad. I'm not gonna hate on this one by any means because 36% ROI return is not bad. $6 is not bad for the minimum, and then the maximum I would say would be around 50. I mean, it could go higher, but I'm saying that would be, I would put my maximum higher than that, but I bet you that I'll probably get it sold lower. So like right now, FBA seller has the buy box at $44. So if we put 44 here, that's 53% ROI, $10 of profit. I'm honestly gonna go for this book just because look at how much it sells. Um, Even if the buy box goes lower, it's probably gonna sell pretty fast, and so the price will change quite often. That's why you're seeing this up and down movement of the lowest used offer count. It's just going like crazy. So there's not ever like a whatchamacallit. It's not ever like consistent just because it sells so much, and there's only 32 people on the listing. It is rising, which is concerning, but since it sells so much, I don't believe that's too big. I wouldn't be too concerned about it. But that's me. I'll probably go for this if it's a good condition. Yeah, it's good condition. Goodwill, great. Goodwill's always under conditioning their books. So if they say it's good, it's probably very good. They say it's acceptable, it's probably good. Not always, not always, but yeah, we'll go ahead and add this to the cart. Moving on. These books I like just because they're not seasonal. You can actually get some sales outside of the season and stuff. And that's it's key for times like now, beginning of May, April, March, all those months before. I think I looked at this book. I can't remember if I was uneligible or not, but I remember this book. It looks like Denver International Airport. That's why I remember this book. 109.33. So yeah, I definitely looked at this book. Oh, I did buy this book a couple days ago. So let's look at it. I don't want to click on it because my address is up there. If I click on that, I bet you because seller amp link in description. It saves your cost. So like last time I put in a price, it saves it. Now, don't always go off of that. Definitely click view order. I don't want to do that because my address is there. But if you put in the last price, then that's what it's gonna save. So I probably bought this for $109.33. So let's check it out. Why did I buy it for $109.33? So looks like it's for the last 3 months at least. It's consistently going up there into the 200s. We go back. Okay, I mean, for the seasons, it seems to pop up to the 200s still. Now that Amazon's off of it, it definitely stays higher. That's as long as it's been. So it's only been around since 2019. Amazon hopped off it, probably a new edition. Yep, there's a new edition. Looks like it just came out. I don't know if this is the newer edition though. Isn't application second edition? Third, maybe it is. I don't know, but it's such a low price. It seems strange as to why this one is such a high price and the newer edition is such a low price. I don't know. But anyways, looks like I bought this book assuming that I'll be able to get it around the $200 price. And see, like this is what I'm saying. You spend $109. At your 43% ROI, you're still making $47 of profit, which amazing. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to argue with that. If this was $12 and I was making 43% ROI, that would be like, I can't do that math in my head right now, but it'd be like maybe $8, $7. You know what I'm saying? At 43% ROI off of a $12 profit, or sorry, off a $12 spend. That's the difference right there. Is you're spending a little bit more money, you're gonna get back a little bit more money with the same ROI. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you kind of have to weigh out. For me, $109 price for my cash flow right now is fine. Um, I'm willing to take that risk, but it is a risk. Like I've spent $100 on a book before, and didn't have the associated media like a DVD or something, and I couldn't sell it, and I had to eat that cost. I think I lost like 40 some dollars on that book. You know, it happens. But let's look at this. Let's look at this newer edition though. Why is it $21.99? Let's look at the authors first. It is the same authors. Is this? Let's see. It doesn't say. Okay, third custom edition. This one says second edition. Because I'm always like fascinated by these newer editions. Sometimes they're weird. It does say second edition, so maybe this is the newer edition. That's so weird as to why the price is so much lower. Usually, if like a book is a newer edition, it's gonna be like way higher in price. But as you see, not always. And this book never sells. Like, why does it never sell? If it's a newer edition, it's 2017. This one's been out. How is this the newer edition? And whenever this one is older, it is a third edition. January 2012. Doesn't say, but this one has the historical data that on Amazon back in 2017, and this one has it back in 2019. There's a glitch or something going on there. I don't know for sure. I can't explain that one. It's weird. But anyways, moving on. I did buy that book. Looks like it's still at a great price. If you got the capital, I would say pick that up. Let's move on here. So we got, this one doesn't look bad, but not great. This one's a case book, one of them law books. I avoid these. I've only bought 2 of them in my career, but both of them I've lost money on, and both of them looked amazing. So I just avoid them. Case books are, I don't know. I feel like you have to know what the cycles are for those books in order to get them down. And I'm not a lawyer, so let's see. So we got 30. This one looks like it pops up into the hundreds. It doesn't look like it's a college book either. Let's see here. Easy way to be successful. Am eligible. That's another reason why Southern Amp is a huge tool to have. You're eligible for. You can see if you're eligible or not right off the bat. I like that. All right, so right now, 3068. So we will have to pay shipping for this. Right here, so we can still get it for 30 something. Let's see, that's 29. 3074. We can get it for 30.74. And then looks like we can safely say we could get it sold. What is that? 60 to 70 right there. Looks like it's been lower. It looks like it is definitely susceptible to the rise in offer count. You can see at the higher offer count here, the price is definitely lower right here. But recently, since the offer count's been going down to 1, it's been responding pretty high. And then this book, as its offer count rises, you can see that the price is responding to the supply, and it's decreasing. So supply and demand, you can see it in action right there. This book I would avoid just because if this does go higher, say up here in the 15s, this price is gonna tank back down to where it was right here. Because look, at 13, when I had used offer count of 13, it was $7. And there's no Amazon on it. The only thing that's changing um, with the lowest used price is the used offer count. That's the only thing changing, and so that tells me is if this does get a whole bunch of sellers on it right now, this price is just going to tank down here to, nothingness. So that's a book I'm avoiding for sure. But you could buy it, make some money on it if no one else jumps on it. You know, if you're willing to take that risk, by all means. For me, it's too low of a return to take that risk for me. Weigh out your risk tolerance, just like on any investment, I guess you could say. If you're wanting to get into the stock market, there's risk involved. Weigh your risk out. If you want to get into real estate, weigh your risk out. Let's hop over to Explorer since that's taken forever to load. For Explorer, for those who don't know, there's tab 1, tab 2. Tab 1 is just the regular Bookmine. You're looking for your seasonal stuff and all that. But tab 2 is more of the Joji Davenport method, where you're looking for like the long tail books, the books that aren't going to sell very fast whatsoever, but they're the books that you can find for really low price and sell them for a lot higher. There isn't there are these filters up here that you can mess with. I don't mess with them at all on this tab. I just go for it because there's not a whole lot of filtering in this. And the biggest difference is you on the last tab 1, you're seeing the year graph. You're seeing how many times it sold in the last year, at what price it sold, and all that. For this tab, you're seeing the last 2 years. See, it says 2023 to 2025. So this is the last 2 years graph. So, the graphs look pretty good, but they're actually a lot worse once you look into them. So always look into these books. Make sure that you know what you're getting, because they're a little different than the last tab. In that case, you don't want to get burnt by going, oh, this is an amazing book, and then look at the keeper graph and realize oh, it's not an amazing book. It's kind of high price for this book. This one does sell quite a bit though throughout the year for most of these books in this tab. The way I understand it, as long as the the competition isn't too crazy, as long as you see a drop, like a 1 drop in the year, and it's an amazing return, you can go for it. You might be sitting on it for a year or two, but it is what it is. If you can get it sold for 100% ROI or more, 200, 300% ROI, this tab is the place to find those type of books. But like I said, you're waiting for that ROI. But once they hit though, those are nice. Those are nice hits. To see in your profit margins and all those that's really nice to see whenever you're having a rough day in February. You gotten 3 returns, no sales, and then you get that hit, and then all the returns are covered, and you made some money. That's just a good feeling to have with these type of books. Not really finding much though right now. Nothing to speak of, at least. This is definitely, I don't always use this tab. I should more than I do, but I think that this is more. Ooh, look at this one. I think this is more of a good one. So right now, I'm loading up on high school books, as many high school books as I can get. I'm buying them because obviously high school season's coming up. We actually will be starting it more or less at the end of this month of May, and so right now I'm just going crazy with that. But these books would be nice to stack up on for those low months, for February, March, and April, the months that just really suck as a bookseller. But that's your gut check period. If you can make it through those months, then you're gonna be well ahead of a lot of people. That's where a lot of people give up, is those months. This book looks really good, actually. We're getting it for what we got here. It's very good. I like that. That's what's that? So that's 20, 21, 90, 95, 21.95 math. 21.95. And right here, the FBA offer is 70. So let's say 70. That's over 100% ROI. But it's definitely gone for higher back here. We got into 119, 115, and then it kind of goes down to the 55 here. So if we got sold for the low, which is 55, that's 66% ROI, and we got sold for the high, like 110-ish, that's 279% ROI. I would probably for something that sits for so long, I'd probably put the low at like 70, maybe 60. I I'd even go higher than that, probably 65. Try to get that 100% ROI at the low for a book that just sits for so long. But this would be an amazing book to get sold whenever you're having a bad day. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would definitely get this book. Only one. Don't like there's multiple here that you could probably go for, but a book like this, just get one because you're most likely going to be sitting on it for a little bit, especially if you price it up here in the 65 range, which might take a little bit for the lowest use offer count to get back up to you, especially since those three, well, now that I'm going to buy one, two low prices are going to be on there. But all right, guys, that's about it for the Bookmine. Just wanted to get on here and do a little bit of sourcing. That's what I do every day. I'll get on, do my admin work, like my other videos that I show. I'll do my admin work first thing in the morning. Once I'm done with that, which only takes like 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how much I sold the day before. Once I do that, I hop on to Bookmine or Keepa sometimes. And then I'll do my sourcing for an hour, 2 hours, however long I'm able to do before the kids get up. But yeah, that's about it, guys.